I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we were divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr.
they're taking.
President.
All right, real quick, let me just jump in here and clarify. So obviously he wasn't well prepped for this, but there's some truth in what he's saying. Now, let's keep it 100. When Trump says black jobs, right, he's referring to, just to give you some examples. I know a lot of people are trying to figure out what a black job is, and a lot of people are going to hate what I have to say. But he's referring to your electricians, your plumbers, your HVAC technicians, jobs like that, like actual licensed skill sets out here in the market. Because when you look at people that are coming here, a lot of people are coming here armed already with those skill sets. They may not have the licenses, but they're armed with the skill sets. And a lot of these corporations and these companies are hiring them, right, to pay them less. Now, all of my friends, or a lot of the people that I know that are, HVAC technicians, electricians, that are plumbers, they're doing very well. Despite what you hear about going on in the economy, the people that I know personally are all doing well above $500,000 a year with these skill sets, because they are something that is needed. We can even throw mechanics in there, right? That fix cars and different machinery. These are things that are needed. But what you see is people coming across the board that are already armed with these skills, and they're coming in and they're able to take some of these jobs and these positions and get paid less money. So it's pushing out certain, groups of people. So, the way he's saying it, I get it. It doesn't sound right. But at the same time, and I hate to say, a black job is this job or that job, but let's keep it 100. That's what he's referring to. But here's the other thing that no one is talking about, including him. These same people that are coming into the country are also buying up the real estate. So it's not just black jobs. It's also black areas. A lot of black areas are being infiltrated, I guess, if that's the word you want to use, by people from other countries, foreigners, right? Yeah, and there's no offense to them. They're taking advantage of the system, how it's designed. Not even taking advantage. They're just using the system, how it's designed. They're able to get, first-time home buyers assistance. They have programs that are specifically for certain groups that can get even more assistance stacked on top. And, they don't have to be a citizen to purchase a home in the United States. And I've talked about this in several videos. I am in the real estate market actively every day, and I see this going on. I have people contact me that aren't even from America, that are in position. They have their pre-approval. They have access to down payment assistance, and they are able to purchase real estate, right? So if you look at a lot of black areas, let's just say, for example, you're starting to see the demographic shift in those areas, but the wealth and the ownership isn't going toward black people. It's going toward people that are not from America. Like I said, I have nothing against immigrants or foreigners, but I'm calling it like it is. And the people that are getting hurt behind this is, obviously African Americans. So it's two things affecting the African American community. Number one, the immigration policy, and number two, the education or the lack thereof.
They're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading.
I just said that. That's facts.
It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the black population, is affected most by that. And Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never even essentially been. She said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border czar. She's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country, and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs, and frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being very badly affected by all of the millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, many of these people are coming in from mental institutions, from prisons, from jails. They're gang members in other countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate is going down, and our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
True.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts, and this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single black moms, when you look statistically.
Yeah.
How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had, in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people, young black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy it because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation is a disaster, and it's destroying our country, and it's destroying the black community probably as much or
So what do
more
you do?
than any.
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might, I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls, and then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying, let's keep going and maybe something happens the other way,
All right, bro, deflected. I'm not sure if there's anything he can do to help people combat debt. I think the only thing that he could do is try to get the Federal Reserve to change their stance of the monetary policy to reduce interest rates, which would then reduce the amount of interest that people will be paying on credit cards. Now, I'm not sure if they're looking for him to print money and send people checks to pay down their credit cards, like they did during the pandemic. But outside of that, I don't see any other plan. I mean, that he could implement that would, not make inflation a lot worse. Because if he prints money to give to people, that obviously, right, the more money you introduce back into the economy, that you print, it causes more inflation, right? So we would technically kick the can down the road. So I mean, obviously he doesn't have a plan, but I'm interested in hearing what you all think. What could be the plan for him to help people pay down their credit card debt, right? Obviously, if the interest rates come down, then the interest would be less. But even still, what is something that could be done? Thanks for watching.